Hi BookTube, and happy Monday. I just got off work, so I thought I would start the vlog out by talking about the books I would like to read this week. And speaking of what I want to do this week, I'm going to go to a town that's nearby me because I just found out that they were the location to film the Halloween Town Disney movies. And they have a fall Halloween festival in September and October. I was like, oh my goodness, it's too close for me not to go stop by. So I'm hoping to make my way over there probably Thursday or Friday after work, because I would like to get there before the crowds of the weekend. But anyway, that's a little spoiler or teaser for what's coming this week. But yeah, as far as the books, I have a couple. I'm still in the Gothic phase. I'm still working my way through this collection, and the next one I have here is by Victoria Holt. And I have heard of this author. I think I might have read one book by her. This is Kirkland Revels, and it's illustrated by Anne Yvonne Gilbert. And let's see, it has a little description here on the inside of what the book is about. And Kirkland Revels is a joyful name for a magnificent manor house in the English moors. Let's see, Catherine, who comes there as the bride of Gabriel, is to find little joy at her husband's ancestral home. Okay, so this is going to be another, like, spooky, unwelcoming house. I feel like all the other books so far in this collection has been like. But yeah, I will fill you in on what this one is about. And along with having this bind up, I also have a couple Gothic books that I found throughout the year at used bookstores. And so this is by Joan Aiken, and it's Dark Interval. And sorry if you can hear this crunching noise. Sable is right beside the camera and chewing on a bone. She's never in the frame. She's never right beside me. She's always right beside me, shaking the camera. But sorry about that. Anyway, so this one says, waiting at her homecoming was a stranger with evil in his gaze. And so you see, this is another creepy house, and she is running from it here with the little straggly tree and whatnot, classic Gothic cover. But I think I might have read one book by Joan Aiken, maybe. I know I own another one, but yeah, we'll see if I end up picking this one up. Let's see. The next one is one I just got from a little free library last week, and I was like, I have to read it now. This is Sarah Smith, A Vanished Child, and it's about a child who vanished from this house, and then years later, yeah, I think he has no memory of it, but yeah, 18 years later, he has no memory, but is recognized as the little boy who went missing. And the creepy one light on in the house. Let's see. And then the next one is The Story of Heathcliff's Journey Back to Wuthering Heights by Lynn Hare Sargent. So going along with Victober, I found this at a little free library and just couldn't pass it up. And this is it seems like a fan fiction maybe, in a sense, of Wuthering Heights with Heathcliff. But yeah, we'll see how I get on with that one. And then the last one here is Too Bright to See by Kyle Luckhoff. This is a children's book about a little boy who is, not little, he's just getting ready to start middle school, so 5th, 6th grade, and he, all of a sudden there's a ghost that comes to him at this house, not him, her, yeah, Bug, yeah, Bug is the name of the girl. So a ghost comes to her at this new house that she moved into and wants to tell her something, but we don't know what it is yet, so yeah, looking forward to that one. This is, again, another book I got from a little free library. It just seemed interesting. I've never heard about the author before, but this says, it's hard to be yourself before you know who that is. So, probably a coming of age story. So yeah, this is what I'm going to be reading this week, and I will touch base with you later today, probably, with what all I've gotten up to. I'm still wrapping up some other books that I have on the go that I'm not even mentioning in this video, but I mean, yeah, in this clip. But yeah, I'll talk about them once I finish them. Another week, another baking project. This time I'm making whole wheat oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. I've made many cookies with oatmeal before, but never with whole wheat flour. So I am highly intrigued to see how this turns out. So I thought I would mention that whenever I bake cookies, I always freeze some. Don't worry, I'm not putting all these in the oven like this because they would just be stuck together like crazy. I've already put 6 in the oven because these are golf ball size cookie dough balls, but I always have a batch of frozen cookie dough in the freezer. That's kind of what prompted me to go in the kitchen and, I was looking at recipes because I try to rotate what I have available to me, because this way, whenever I want cookies, I can have fresh baked cookies without going through the whole process of mixing the dough and all of that. So I just thought I would mention that. But yeah, these look really good, and I put sea salt on the ones that are going in the oven. I don't put salt on cookie dough that I'm freezing. I just do it whenever I'm gonna go bake it. And so yeah, when you can freeze, you can use these directly from the freezer. You just have to not wait, add 1 to 2 minutes in the oven. And yeah, it's easy peasy. Here is the finished product. They're a little bit darker perhaps than I would have liked. I baked them for 13 minutes and it was recommended 12 to 14. So I did right in the middle. I got distracted because typically I like to check it around 10 minutes in. Like things like cakes and cookies, that kind of thing. You just want to see how they're doing if you want to adjust the time. But I didn't, so it's my own fault. I think they're going to be fine. And in my Dogs Are People 2 cup, I'm going to have a David's tea. This is vanilla cappuccino. It's a black tea. And I've already had this last week. Bear in mind, these are all new to me because I've never had David's tea before. But I really like the vanilla caramely kind of flavor. I think that'll go well with the cookies. But it's low caffeine, even though it's a black tea and it has cappuccino in the title. Yeah, because even the main ingredient is apple before you get to the black tea. But there's candied pineapple. You don't taste that at all. I think that's maybe used as a sweetener. There's coffee beans and just cream and vanilla flavor. So yeah, I'll show you the inside in a second. So here's what it looks like. You can see the little pieces of apple, predominantly apple, with a sprinkling of black tea and and there's coffee beans in here as well. And I think because they're not crushed up, it's not a strong coffee flavor. And I don't actually care for coffee. Obviously getting this tea, I'm a tea drinker. But yeah, it's not too strong of a coffee in there. Oh, you're a choo-choo train. What you got? I think she's choosing the bottle over the geese. It's a very foggy Thursday morning. Not Fable. I think she hears some birds out in the field. It's now Saturday around 11 o'clock in the morning, and I decided today to participate in the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. It's a really cool event. I've participated many times in the past, predominantly offline. I feel like I might have vlogged or talked about it occasionally throughout the years, but it's a 24-hour readathon, and what's cool is that everyone starts at the same time, no matter where you live. So for my time, time zone, it started at 5 a.m. I did not start reading at 5 a.m. I didn't get up until around 6:30, and it's hard for me to read in the dark when I first wake up because the sun doesn't come up till later, and it's really cloudy and rainy outside right now. So yeah, it's hard for me to start right away when I'm not having to work and be on the computer. But I did start reading Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, and I have it on my Kindle here. But I thought I would show my Kindle and what I have on here right now, because I get a lot of books from the library. Because for today, I'm going to try and read maybe a variety of books. I'm not sure. Because it goes from 5 a.m. my time till 5 a.m. tomorrow, but I'm not going to lose any sleep. So we'll see what all I get up to just, today. But I'm reading Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This is the Netflix TV show cover. I don't necessarily love it, but I also have on my Kindle right now A Haunting on the Hill by Elizabeth Hand, and I think it's a modern retelling maybe of the story. I'm not 100% sure. And then as far as other books, I don't know if I want to read these back to back, but I thought I would mention I do have it on my Kindle. I'm probably gonna wait a couple of days. I don't want to read it the same day because that would I don't want to compare them too closely, because then I feel like it would be unfair for the new book. And then I was thinking, going after The Haunting of Hill House, going to Truly Madly Sheeply, maybe, because I'm feeling up to reading a cozy mystery. This is by Heather Vol Friedrichs, And yes, that one's I'm considering. And the other one I'm considering is Checking Out Crime by Lori Cass. I have read from the series, and I have read the author before. But it's not a series I've been really compelled to pick up that often. So we'll see. And then the other one I'm considering, another cozy mystery I'm considering, is Mischief Nights Are Murder by Libby Klein. So there's that one. But yeah, I just thought I would like flip through and like show you what I have from the library, because I am constantly getting books in and out of the library. Like, I often, if not more, so have over 100 books, 100 ebooks or audiobooks checked out from my library, and I have like probably another 50, if not 100, on hold that are coming in. So I don't read them that quick, but I at least have a variety to choose from. Whatever I don't read, it's okay. I can just send them back to the library and put it on hold again, or what have you. Or if I read a couple pages, oh, this is not for me, then I can just take it off. I'm not committed to any of these books, but I just thought I would share what all I've borrowed from here. I have The Light at the End. I think this is I have a couple horror books. I haven't read any horror this month. That, and then Hardscrabble by Sandra Dallas. I read a historical fiction by her last week, this week. So I was like, I want to see what else she has. And then the Worst Witch series. I went and borrowed books 2 and 3. I think I mentioned that earlier this week in the vlog. And then Babysitter's Club book that I want to read next, and I can't tell what number this is because it's covered up by the little info on the corners here. But yeah, another mysteries. Yeah, I'm in the mood for mysteries and cozy mysteries, all like October themed. Bait and Witch. I really want to get to that one. I actually own a copy, but because it's on ebook, I got rid of my copy, and I'm like, I might as well read the format that I prefer. And then the book I'm considering today, checking out crime, and then I think this is a horror too, and then the cozy mystery I'm considering. Let's see what else I have here. Yeah, I have Alice Hoffman and a couple like witch things, and then these are the ones that I've already like either looked at and read that I wanted, that I had read and liked, or the ones that I picked up like, oh yeah, no, not for me. So anyway, I just thought I would share like what I have like on the docket, if that makes sense. Because I think I haven't like officially announced this yet, but I think I'm going to be participating in the Read What You Own challenge, and that starts November 6th. But I think I want to start it early. So because I'm gonna from that point on, really, I want to focus on all the books I own on my shelves. Why not for this like next week or so just read what I have on my Kindle? Because then I just like switch my focus, if that makes sense. Because otherwise, I don't know. I feel like if I decide to do the challenge and I read all these books, up until that point, then I'm like, oh, these won't count. And I want them to count towards my number, if that makes sense. So what I've been up to today, like I said, I'm going to be participating in the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. I really want to focus on reading today. I was initially thinking about plans of going out, but I'm like, no, I just want to stay in, because I've had a long week, and I'm not feeling it. It's kind of drizzly outside. It's going to rain all day tomorrow, and today it's cloudy, overcast. I did have an errand today of, I had to go get the car inspected for like the registration stickers and all of that. So while I was out doing that, I went and stopped at some free libraries, and I got a bag of books because, of course, I've been pulling books from my shelves to unhaul them, and so they've just been sitting here waiting for me to like get them out the door. So even though I have a bag here of books, I got rid of 2 grocery bags. So I think that's a win. Because like if I'm going to participate in the Read What You Own challenge, with that I won't make a whole video on this. So like I'm not going to explain everything all in detail. But with that, you don't want to bring any more books in. Like you're giving yourself a cutoff of I'm not going to bring any books in or haul anything until I read an X amount of books. So like why not go ahead and look around at what the little free libraries have, because I didn't pay any money for them. Although time. What I am paying is time in reading these books. But yeah, these are just interesting books that I haven't heard about before, and something I would be interested in that I wouldn't necessarily want to pay money for, kind of thing. So with that, several of these books are children's picture books, because these things are really expensive. Like this one, was sold at Powell's, the Powell's bookstore. That's like the famous like the biggest bookstore in the world, and they're charging $19 for a children's picture book, and yeah, it's I don't know. For me, if I want to read it, again, I don't have children. I'm an adult, so children's picture books, aren't exactly what I'm in love with, kind of thing. I want to spend a lot of my money towards, but I will get them like digitally often from like Hoopla or my library, like the Libby app, or little free libraries. So this one is Autumn Pelter Water Warrior, and it's written by Carol Lindstrom and illustrated by Bridge George. And often with these, I don't even read what they're about. I'll just look at the pictures, and if it looks interesting to me, then I will want to pick it up. And these are so short. I read them and then just take them right back. Oh, and this actually has a bookmark in it. And that's all the other thing I like about little free libraries is you're constantly finding like random little knickknacks in here. But yeah, this just looks pretty, and so I just thought I would pick it up. There's a little bit of text on each page, but this one just it's about a woman that's always worked tirelessly to protect our water, keeping it pure and clean for generations to come. Yet there was a time when their voices and teachings were nearly drowned out, leaving entire communities and environments in danger and without clean water. Okay, so yeah, there's that one. And let's see if I can pull out the other picture books real quick. Okay, so yeah, I have a Sierra magazine. This is the fall 2023 edition. I found this at a little free library. I've never read the what is this called? The Sierra Club magazine. I have heard about it, of course, and like I've seen different things, but like why not? Just kind of thumb through this and see what it's all about. Yeah, there's different articles on things, and let's see if I can look at the table contents real quickly. It's like notes from here and there on caribou. There's on something about blocking a pipeline, cranes and critters, fireflies, and there's also some book reviews in here. So yeah, I'm gonna look at the books for sure. There's Endangered Eating, A New War on Cancer, and Defending Animals are the 3 topics covered in this. So yeah, let me know if any of you have, or subscribed to the Sierra Club magazine or what have you, or any thoughts on that. But yeah, I've heard about it, but never read anything by them. And let's see, the other one, I have a couple other picture books, is Vet Flag by Tamika Fryer Brown and illustrated by Nicholas Smith. And this is all about the history, like, I think, pretty sure the Confederate flag, and it's like the history of, yeah, it is the Confederate flag. And so yeah, I just thought the artwork was interesting as well. And it talks about the history, but what that means, and there's like different little things here of what's going on with it. Okay, this is a graphic novel. This is I Love This Part by Tilly Walden, and it's like a hardcover, like without any dust jacket, which I really like that that kind of a book in general, really. And so this is all of it's in like purple, black, and white. And this needs to be like a YA type book. Let's see if there's any description on the back. Yeah, because with little free library books, I just like, if I see it, I'll just pick it up without any much thoughts going in this. It says a story of a small love that can make you feel like the biggest thing around is all it says. And this is another book from Powell's, and this was a new book back then, it's 2023 release, and it was $17. So yeah, like I feel like I kind of like save money going to little free libraries instead of Powell's. Although I do frequent Powell's. The one closest to me I frequent probably every 2 months, and then the big one every 4 months or so, or every 6 months, something like that. And here is another children's picture book, The 1619 Project, Born on the Water by Nicole Hannah-Jones, Renee Watson, and it's illustrated by Nicholas Smith. That's actually, wasn't that another? Yeah, this one right here was illustrated by Nicholas Smith. And let's see, it says, they say our people were born on the water, but our people had a home, a place, a land before they were sold. So this is about slavery in 1619, which I don't think gets as much focus, I feel like, compared to like the Civil War, 1800s era. But it says it's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Nicole Hannah-Jones, and the Newbery Honor winning author Renee Watson. Yeah, I have heard, and I'm pretty sure I've read several books by Renee Watson. But again, the artwork is just really pretty with all the blue colors in here. Yeah, the same kind of art style as the flag as well. So we have a couple more. I have a couple like garden kind of books that are picture books. This is Linnea's Windowsill Garden by Christina Bjork and Lena Anderson. This is an older book, I think from like the 90s or something. Yeah, because I remember when I opened it up, I saw like the library stickers from like the early 1990s. But this is all about Lena and her love of plants. And so you have like her story in here and what she's thinking about and doing and whatnot. But it's also like teaching you, about different plants. So you have different fruits and like how different plants grow in the ground. And I just thought this would be really interesting to read, especially like with all like my love of nature books. I was like, a children's book on nature would be just fascinating. And I have this one other one. Oh, this is also about Lena. Yeah, Lena Anderson in this one, and then yes, I think all these different books are going together here. Lena Anderson and Ulf Svedberg, Nikki the Nature Detective, and that name. Yeah, this was just pretty. It's a little bit torn on the corner here, but considering like the age of the books, I don't mind. And then they have like the pretty end papers. And this one too, same as the other one. Like, just a girl who's interested in nature, so she has a bit of story mixed in with, with description of plants and bugs. This one is a cricket, and there's fish and all sorts of things. Yeah, this just looked really cute. Something easy to just read my way through. And I think that's all the picture books. And now I'll just go in order and just pick up books as I get to them. So I'm not going too far from children's literature. This is Midnight is a Place by Joan Aiken. And the cover is what drew my eye. Let's see. It's a midnight court, a vast stone pile of a house, and it's earned by Sir Randolph Grimsby. Let's see. It was a carriage deposits a mysterious arrival. Will this be a friend for him at last? And his hopes are dashed when he meets the newcomer, Anna, who is unfriendly, spoiled. So it's like we'll see. Like, it's like two kids that are like, seems to be like in this lonely house, this gigantic house, and they're not getting along too well. Let's see. We have an intrigue book, Harlequin Intrigue. This is Rebecca York, Christmas Spirits. I got it because it had Christmas in the title. I like the intrigue line of Harlequin because it's like thriller, it's suspenseful, and really fast paced, and so these are really easy to get through. And then, this one has more bookmarks in it. So we have Read in Color, like someone's made their own like little free library bookmark. And then it's Let Freedom Read, Public Libraries Banned Book Week bookmark. And this one is Love, Sugar Magic, A Dash of Trouble by Anna Mariano. I'm not sure if it's like part of a series or like just a subtitle, but this is about Lenora, and she owns a bakery in Rose Hill, Texas, spending her days baking delicious cookies and cakes for any occasion. And then there's the annual Dia de los Muertos. I can't speak Spanish. The festival, like the Day of the Dead, I'm pretty sure is what that means. So like the Mexican culture in Texas. And I have a it seems like a brand new graphic novel, Borders by Thomas King, and it's illustrated by Natasha Donovan. And this one says, "Which side do you come from?" And I think this is kind of like going along with this one, talking about like the Mexico-U.S. border. I feel like it's about a boy and his sister, and the mother sets out on a road. Oh no, the boy and the mother set out on a road trip to visit his sister, and it's talking about citizenship. Yeah, so some kind of border between two countries. Yeah, we'll see once I read it. But yeah, this looks like it's in really good condition. And let's see, we have Our Old War by Alan Shapiro. And this is a book of poetry because he himself in 2002 was, he served in the Iraq War. And so this is about his, this is his 9th collection of poetry. And I've never heard of him before, I don't believe. But it's about nature of art, love, family, and a world defined by brutality, deception, and instability. So yeah, I thought it would be pretty quick to get through. And interesting. Yeah, I do try to read some poetry to force myself through it. Because otherwise I feel like if I don't like make a point of reading poetry, then I just kind of never would. So I'm always trying to like have some kind of poetry on the go each month. We have Natalie Kinsley Warnock, Lumber Camp Library. This is illustrated by James Bernardin. This is kind of go along with my theme of like, I feel like each week this month I've read something on logging, which I didn't exactly set out to do. I didn't intend for that. But when I saw this book, I was like, why not give that a try? And so there is some artwork in here. And it's, I'm sure it's about just a little girl growing up in a logging camp. So we'll see how this compares to like the nonfiction books I've been reading about people. Like what I have been reading is like one of them was about a man who grew up the son of a logger and then became a logger himself. And then the other book I read was about a mother raising 3 kids at logging camps. So this is from a different perspective. This time a little girl. Just Juice by Karen Hess. What drew me immediately was Karen Hess. I really like her work. And I've never heard of this book, so all it took me to pick up this book was that it was by Karen Hess, and I haven't read this one. So, the girl's name is Juice. Juice lives with her pa and ma and 4 sisters way out in the hills. Working with her hands comes easy, but letters and numbers don't make sense to her. So she's starting 3rd grade all over again. This one is Millworks Framing Life. What I liked about this is it's just a journal, but it's put on by an Oregon, Writer's Mill is a local Oregon group, and they focus on, writers in the local community. And so this includes stories, poems, and essays from the local community. So I thought that would be interesting to give a go. And there's different pictures throughout, different themes from each person's interest. So yeah, here's a poem on a spirit bear, dog. Someone talking about dogs, so this, again, this has a bookmark in it. This is like just advertising for a random book. And this is Jean Harkin. Oh, she's an author in Portland and written a couple stories, including this one. So yeah, just a random ad. Maybe her work is in here, but yeah. And then I have a couple more, just 2 more. The Best Worst Christmas Pageant Ever by Barbara Robinson. Again, same as like the other Christmas book. I was like, Christmas is gonna be around the corner, so why not pick this up? I'm pretty sure I read this as a kid, but this would be a little quick reread for me. And then the very last one is a Gary Paulson book, and I can't read it because the library sticker is covering the title, but it's How Angel Peterson Got His Name, Outrageous Tales of Extreme Sports. The cover is completely goofy, but I tend to like Gary Paulson's work, and I don't think I can get this from the library, on digitally. So I'm like, why not pick this up at a little free library? Those are all the books I've gotten. I probably won't have too many more book hauls in the next couple weeks because I'm going to be, again, I'm pretty sure, I haven't 100% committed, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be participating in the read what I actually own instead of bringing in more books. So although I still have like at least 5 or 6 giant bags, grocery bags full of books to get rid of. I just have to like close my eyes and put them in the little free libraries and just not look at anything, not be tempted. Anyways, I will report back in a little bit on how my reading is going today for the Dewey's 24-hour reading event. Talk to you soon. Hi, Fable. She loves heights. She's taller than me right now. I booked booktube. It's Sunday afternoon and I thought I would make the brownies. Let's see if I can do this one-handed because it's really heavy. Joy of cooking. This is the brownie recipe that when I purchased the book, the cashier was telling me her story of how she is on her 4th copy. She got her first one as a wedding present, and each time she has a kid or a grandchild, she gets a new one, and so she's on her 4th edition, and she recommended me starting with the brownies. And she said her description was it's lots of chocolate and sugar and butter with very little flour to hold it together. So I thought I would take you through the process on how to make the brownies. So I thought I would show you the recipe. I'm not sure exactly what edition this is because I'm sure there's been many editions. And this actually came with 3 different recipes jotted down from the previous owner. We have stir fry, chili, and a pumpkin bread. So it seems to be like a winter or a fall picks. But let me just see real quick what edition I have. If it will tell me. If it even matters. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see there's many reprints of this. And this is a cookbook I've been wanting for a long time, and I saw it at not a Little Free Library. I'm so used to getting books at Little Free Libraries. But no, a library bookstore, and it was a couple of dollars and in good condition. So I would get it in this 1997 is the edition I have. But it comes with a handy-dandy bookmark. So I've already noted the brownie recipe. So it's going to make, depending on how I cut them, 16 or 24, and this was in the original Joy cookbook in 1931, and it seems like nothing has changed since then. So we're going to start with the chocolate and butter. We're going to melt it, and then we're going to add sugar, vanilla, 4 eggs, and these are all going to be room temperature, and flour and some pecans, and bake it in the 9x13 dish. Even though this is my first time making the recipe, I'm going to deviate just a little bit. Instead of putting this over a broiler and, melting it over the stove, I'm going to put it in the microwave and stir it every 15 seconds or so until the chocolate and butter has melted. It's nicely melted, and now I'm going to add the vanilla extract and white sugar, and I'm going to weigh it. And I'm surprised it doesn't include grams on here, but I've Googled what it's going to be. So it's 400 grams of sugar and 8 to 9 grams of vanilla. The woes of trying to vlog this is that I knocked over the vanilla as I was putting down the camera with the lid open, and it's a big bottle, so I don't know exactly how much I lost, but thank goodness the phone is waterproof because I was able to, if I cut my phone, the case, part of the counter got soaked in vanilla extract, so I can just run my phone under the faucet and get it cleaned up, but just thought I would include that in the vlog. Sugar and vanilla have been stirred in. Now to add 4 eggs. Let me see, do I need to add them one at a time? No. Okay, so I'm going to put them all in then. I've lined and greased a 9x13 pan. I typically use parchment paper for this just so I have 0 risk of anything sticking, but I'm following directions. I'm going to pour this in and bake it for 23 minutes. So here is the finished brownies. Has the crackly shiny top, the fudgy insides with some walnuts. It was pretty easy to put together, and it's tasty too, so I would recommend checking it out. I wanted to catch you up on what I've been reading because I feel like, as per usual with the weekly vlogs, I haven't really talked about what I've been reading this week. I unfortunately didn't get to go to Halloween Town this week. I was just too tired over the weekend, and speaking of the weekend, I had all the intentions of participating in the Dewey's 24-hour readathon, and I did read, but nowhere near the amount I would like to. I probably read 3 or 4 hours, which it might seem like a lot, but for me that isn't. That's really normal, if not low, for a weekend day. But see, I participated lightly, unfortunately. But yeah, I was just too tired. I had no energy whatsoever this weekend. But so anyway, catching up on what I read throughout the week, because I did have energy earlier in the week to read some books. But before diving into those, I thought I would briefly mention 2 books that I had spoken about earlier this week that I wanted to read. I gave them a try and just not for me. So, The Vanished Child by Sarah Smith. This was just boring. I read the first 2 chapters, wasn't pulling me in at all, and for a mystery, a suspenseful mystery, it looks atmospheric, it has to pull me in order for me to read it, because there's just too many books that I could read that are in that same genre that will just pull me right in, page 1, sentence 1, kind of deal. I'm not asking them to necessarily pull me on the very first page, but you have to eventually draw me in, and this just wasn't doing it. Pretty cover, but yeah, didn't do it for you. Yeah, sorry if the camera's shaking. Fable is, as per usual, right behind the camera and looking right at me. But yeah, maybe she'll come over. But if she does, it might not wobble the camera even more. So sorry if it's jiggling too much. Let me see if I can adjust it real quick. So it's not too wobbly. Okay, so the other one, The Story of Heathcliff's Journey Back to Wuthering Heights by Lynn Hare Sargent. This was just a big no for me. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte is one of my favorite Victorian literature books out there that I've read, and this was kind of interesting, the premise of talking about Heathcliff's life, a part of it, when he went away and was gone, I think, for 3 or 4 years, and wasn't covered necessarily in Emily Bronte's books on what all he was up to. So this fills in that gap. But the tone, the characters themselves didn't feel true to the characters in Wuthering Heights. It also included the part I did read included Jane Eyre's character, like Mr. Rochester, and that all threw me off. And yeah, and so then when I looked at the reviews of this, they were all horrible. So I can see why this was donated to a little free library. So I'm just gonna give it a new home, and maybe someone else will enjoy this. Just, yeah, no. Okay, so then I'll just continue with the physical books that I did read. I read The Martha Years, A Little House in the Highlands by Melissa Wiley. I finally decided to start reading the Little House on the Prairie generational series. I don't know exactly what to call these, but basically you have Laura's years, the books that she wrote, and then they decided to write a series, not Laura Ingalls Wilder, but a different author decided to do Rose's years, her daughter, through, I think, until she's 18. But then they also went back to Caroline's years, her mother, Laura Ingalls Wilder's mother, and did, 6 or 7 books of that, and then did the grandma, Charlotte, and this is the great-grandma, Martha. I have most of the books, and I've been holding on to them for quite a while. I'm just trying to wait and fill in the little gaps that I'm missing. I think I'm missing 3, maybe 4 books. But I'm like, why not go ahead and get started on these, since I own quite a few. So yeah, this is set in Scotland, on one of the lochs. How am I pronouncing that right? It seems like way out in the middle of nowhere, kind of like Little House on the Prairie, how they're out in the middle of nowhere in the country. That's kind of like what this sounded like. They're somewhere northwest of Edinburgh, like way out in like the moors and all of that, and they live in a stone house. And Martha has quite a few brothers and sisters, and what I liked about this is it gave you a lot of like the folklore of Scotland, and I know very little about that, and it gave you the atmosphere of it. And they're going to be celebrating some holidays, and now I can't remember exactly what the name of that holiday was. And they talk about the wee folk, like the little the house fairy things that the maid is constantly leaving little breadcrumbs and little shirts for the brownie. It was called one of the creatures was called a brownie. It's taking place in 1788. So yeah, this was really interesting. I liked how it gave me some knowledge, even though I'm an adult reading a children's book. It still contained information that I wasn't familiar with. Let's see. Okay, so the next book is Appalachian Peril by Debbie Herbert. This is a Harlequin intrigue. These are like the fast-paced, suspenseful thrillers. And this is about Beth, who has inherited a house and lots of money due to her father's death, and her father was a judge. And there seems to be some questions on his morals and his decisions in his different trials that he has conducted, because there's all these things coming out of the woodworks after he's died. And she's dealing with a stepmother and stepbrother who are jealous of her inheriting this money, and there's lots of tension there, along with, like, she's being chased down because different people want money from her because of the judges, like they think that they were given the wrong sentence, and so they're like blackmailing her for money, kind of thing. So there's lots of going on in this story, and yeah, I like the setting. It's in the Appalachian Mountains in Georgia. Yeah, and the cover was really cool too. It actually has snow in Georgia. Who knew? Because this was published in August, and it's like set during the winter time, August 2020. But yeah, this is a really fast-paced read, and it's my first time reading Debbie Herbert, and I liked her writing. Okay, so now going to some ebooks that I have been reading. Again, I'm gonna try and do better next week, and actually, like, instead of giving you all the books at once, try and maybe give you some daily updates, because I have done some daily vlogs, but not the book. So I'm like, hello, this is a reading vlog. So yeah, need to do better. So just like bombarding you at the end with everything. So I read Where Coyotes Howl by Sandra Dallas. And I really like the cover. So this is taking place in Wyoming, and the main character grew up in Iowa. She's a teacher and sees an ad in the newspaper for a teacher in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. She doesn't know it's the middle of nowhere. She has these visions of what the West is, and even though she's in Iowa, she's not in like the new West of her time. And so when she goes there, it's like not even a one-stop horse town. There's like 3 or 4 buildings, and so she is in for some interesting things there of no luxuries to speak of, whereas her sister has married up and is living in a very high class society in Chicago. And so when the sister comes to visit her, she's like, oh my goodness, there's dust everywhere. There's no running water, no bathrooms. Everything has to be done by hand. She has no sewing machine or anything like that. But she learns to embrace this new lifestyle, and a lot of that has to do with the man she meets. I can't remember these people's names. This is my life. But the man she meets, who he's a cowboy and is just gung-ho on living in Wyoming, doesn't want to leave, and so she learns to love the open high winds of it. He talks about how it's like a frying pan during the summer and then freezing cold in the winter with all the winds. But yeah, this was a really sad story. It did not have a happy ending, even though it's it's kind of sort of a love story between the two of them, like historical fiction. But it did not have a happy ending if you were looking for that. And Sandra Dallas I read many of her books, and she does have happy endings with a lot of them. But this one, she talks about how her inspiration for this story was she couldn't even remember what it talks about. She couldn't remember what book it was from, but about a cowboy who was interviewed, and he talked a little bit about his life and how he just like rode off and was never heard from again. But he gave his story of trying to make it out, make a life out in the the prairies, and it just didn't work out. So that gives you a little inkling of what the story entails. But that description wasn't until the end of the book. So if I would have gone in reading that part, then I would have realized what I'm coming into. Because when she arrives in the Wyoming town, she has lots of enthusiasm and hope. And when she meets her husband, they have a lot of hope for the future, even though there are down times. Like I feel like all like the farmer stories would have, trying to make a life out there with like the soddies and all of that. You have your ups and downs with like the grasshoppers and the storms and all that will kill your crops or hurt the cattle. But you still, I feel like a lot of the times have a happier ending to some extent. But yeah, this was brutal to read. Switching gears, I read a couple more like Halloween-esque books. Maureen Kilmer's Hex Education, and this is about 3 witches that they discovered magic powers in college, and something happens and they basically blow up or set fire to some of the college campus, and ever since then have kind of kept their magic under wraps and not used it hardly at all. But then something is happening where even their little spells make things go completely wonky. But yeah, this story was just okay for me. I didn't much care for it. That, I don't know, it didn't hit the right note for me. And yeah, it was just meh. But the premise was interesting. The premise is what drew me in. And then going to like kind of like a horror book. This is Bad Cree by Jessica Jones. This is, I believe, a debut novel by Jessica Johns. I think I said Jones. Yeah, Jessica Johns. But this is following the main character, who it opens up kind of creepy with her having this like nightmare. She wakes up and there is like a bloody crow head, I believe. It was just like a head. She wakes up with like on the bed with her. But then she keeps having these dreams continually, and like kind of like pulling things out of the dreams, and like, you know, nightmares are constantly haunting her. She goes back to her family, trying to like reconnect with a family that she has completely lost touch with, and that doesn't exactly help her dreams. It makes it worse. And so, you know, it kind of connects, like in her dreams are connecting with, you know, her real life, you know, resolutions of things. But yeah, this was interesting for sure. And then going back to like book, In the Company of Witches by R. Lee Wallace. This is a cozy mystery series, the Evanfall Witches B&B mystery series. I love the cover. The cover is what brought me to pick up this book, and I've had it on my wish list to read, I think even from last year. And this was really disappointing to me. The tone was just off. The descriptions, and it didn't have that like light, fun, magical element to it, because the main character, although there's a mystery, there's a murder at the B&B, and so her aunt that's helping her run it is suspected of murder, and so our main character, you know, has to help solve the mystery, which, you know, that's, you know, common in cozy mysteries. But the part that throws it off is that our main character is dealing with the grief of losing her husband who's died, and so her magical ability is seeing ghosts and talking to ghosts and, you know, dead people. So like that tone that just really pulled it down for me, and didn't make this light and fluffy. It didn't make it a fun read for me. And that part, like dealing with the grief and all that, but then also just the writing itself, just it didn't fit for what I was looking for, basically, in a cozy mystery. So yeah, I will not be continuing on with the series, unfortunately. But my you know, my review of this is, I feel like, not the norm, because when I checked it, you know, read on Goodreads, and because I was Goodreads, I never look at the reviews. I try not to look at the reviews until I've finished the book. But when I was looking at the reviews for this one, many people enjoy this book. I feel like it's very rare for people not to. So, you know, take that, you know, take my review basically with a grain of salt, I guess. Then I read Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. And this is for a book for my Victober reading, because I am, even though I've been reading many books, I am participating in Victober with like 4 or 5 books. So this is like the first one I have managed to finish. Although the first book I've been reading, The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope, I'm still reading slowly. I really need to just dedicate a good solid couple days to that, just get it done, instead of like having it linger on and on. But anyway, going to this one, this is a reread for me. I read it as a child, but I didn't have much memory of it. This is in the mindset of the horse, and basically it makes you empathize with, you know, animals and horses, you know, in particular, of all that they go through, because so much of it, you know, so much of all animals, I feel like, that are in our care is completely up to the whims of the owner. And that's very true in this book. How the horse is taken care of, you know, the food he eats, you know, if he's like, you know, cleaned up and rubbed down after going out for exercise, if he's exercised enough, all of that is included in this book. And it just really makes you think. It can be a sad book, but yeah, I just feel like it talks to you about the reality of horses, and think about back in their day, in the Victorian era, you know, how horses were completely relied upon, whereas now you have cars, you know, that don't have a heart or a brain, you know. So yeah, this is very it made you think a lot. And going back to more of the spooky books, I reread, another reread for me is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. And when I was looking at covers to pull for this, I really like this cover. This cover wasn't, I had the the silly TV series cover on my book, but I really like this one. But this is about a group of people that get invited to a house because there are these mystical things going on that people are trying to, find out what's going on here. Is it ghosts? Is it, are people lying? Is it nothing? Is it just like mice in the walls? Kind of deal. But when they're there, they are witnessing these, like, knocking on the doors and, rattling things and getting lost in the house. And, where doors were, are they moving around? Are they doors? I just opened this door, but now it's closed, and the windows are closing, and, that kind of thing. Yeah. So this was just a fun reread for me. I've read it, I think, my third time now. And yeah, Shirley Jackson never disappoints for me. And I do plan on reading a couple more Shirley Jackson books before the end of the month, because, oh my goodness, the end of the month is approaching, and I have like 2 more books of hers that I would like to read. Okay, and the very last book I have here is The Babysitter's Club, book number 39, Poor Mallory by Anne M. Martin. I am slowly making my way through the series. I feel like I'm reading 1 book a month. I really want to pick that up, considering I think there's like well over 100 books in this series. This is the very first time I've gone through this series. I never read these as a kid. But Poor Mallory. Mallory is one of the younger kids in the Babysitter's Club, and her dad loses her job. Her dad is a lawyer, and he's providing a living for 10 people because it's him and his wife, and then they have 8 children, and Mallory is the oldest one. So she takes on a lot of more babysitting jobs to provide money, and then all the kids are trying to find, lemonade stands or mowing the lawn or, different things like that to provide money, because they're really anxious about, her dad losing her job, and they're thinking, oh, maybe they'll lose the house. There is a little bit of miscommunication there between the kids and the parents. Like, if the kids would have talked about their worries, they probably wouldn't have to worry so much. But that's just kids. But yeah, this is just a light, fun read. It takes me less than an hour to read it, and there are nice little breaks in between, other longer books. So yeah, that is all I've read this week. Yeah, looking forward to next week's vlog, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.